Welcome to Informatica support video. My name is Sitakant. I work as a product specialist for B2B. In today's video, I will be taking you through how to handle failure in DT. Here is the agenda of today's video. First, we will be talking about what is failure and why failure handling is required. Then we will discuss about the optional property of any anchor. Then we will discuss about how to write failure message to user log and notifying the error, followed by a demo. Failure handling. When a developer design a transformation in DT, they need to consider the scenario like what happens if the input data is invalid? What happens if data is missing from the input? For example, an address might be omitting the house number. What happens if the input has an unusual structure? For example, the records might be out of sequence. Any of these conditions resulting from an input error can cause the transformation errors and failures. Transformation need to be incorporated with the features that detect these errors and should be designed to take the appropriate actions. There are different ways to handle such kind of error. Like, we can fail the transformation and generate no output, or we can fail a portion of the transformation and roll back its output, or we can continue the entire transformation but write a message to the user log. Now coming to the failure handling, as I discussed, a failure is an event that prevents a component from processing data in the expected way. For example, an anchor might fail if it searches for the text that doesn't exist in the source document. A transformer or action might fail if its input is empty or has an inappropriate data type. A failure can be perfectly normal occurrence under some circumstance. For example, a source document might contain an optional date. The content anchor of the parser will fail if data is not found in the source document. By configuring the transformation appropriately, the result can be controlled. In the above example, the parser can be configured to ignore the missing data and continue processing. The event log will be capturing the warning about failures. In addition, a transformation can be configured to write a failure message in the user log. Now coming to the optional property. All the anchors support the optional property that can be either selected or cleared, representing the desired behavior. If the optional property of a component is not selected, a failure of the component causes its parent to fail. If the parent is also non-optional, its own parent fails, and so on. For example, suppose that a parser contains a group and the group contains a marker and all the components are non-optional. If the marker doesn't exist in the source document, the marker fails, causing the group to fail, which in turn causes the parser to fail. If the optional property of a component is selected, a failure of the component doesn't bubble up the parent. In the above example, suppose that the group is optional, the failed marker causes the group to fail, but the parser doesn't fail. Now, how to write the failure message to user log? Any component, any anchor can be configured to output failure events to a user-defined log. For example, if an anchor fails to find a text in the source document, it can write a message in the user log. Logging can occur even if the anchor is defined as optional. The user log contain information with failure level, information, warning or error, anything. Name of the component that failed, failure description, location of the failed component in the Intel script. The onFail property of the transformation component can be used to define user log output. The onFail property can have the following values: log error, log warning, log info, custom log, and notify failure. Log error, log warning, and log info are of same time. They get the value from the var last failure of system variable. Log error is type of error, log warning is type of warning, log info is type of information, whereas custom log you can write a custom serializer to write the user log to a particular location. Notify failure triggers a notification, and you can create a notification handler to catch the notification and write the user log in a particular way. Either you can the output file or to a user log or any kind of file. Now the user log that is created using any of them, log error, log warning or log info, is a text file which can be viewed in a text editor. The file is created in the cm user logs directory mentioned in the cmconfig XML. You can configure to any directory for the cm user log element of the cmconfig XML. By default, each execution of a DT generates a user log having a unique name, and by default the name of the user log is service name plus the unique string .log. Now coming to the demo. So I have a very simple project, simple parser project, where I have a local text file which is very simple. It's the first name Sitakanta, last name is Pradhan, and then 31 is the age and male is the sex. So each of the elements are delimited by the pipe character. Now I have created a sample DT project just as pipe as a delimiter. So my first content will be having Sitakanta, which is first name. Now Pradhan will be the last name. Now 31 will be in the age and male will be the sex. So if I run the program now, I will get the very much expected output because there is no error. So I got the Sitakanta in first name, Pradhan in the last name, 31 in the age, male is a sex. Now if I, let's say some of the fields are missing, let's say modify the input file so that I don't have a last name. Now I don't have a last name here. If I run the project now, it should be failing. Okay, as expected, the first content succeed, the first marker it could able to find the first content. However, it failed in the second content, saying that it couldn't find it found the closing marker of the content, whereas the values are empty, and that's why it failed. And because of that, there is an error and it failed. Now to make it work, we need to make it either optional or we can disable this content, but in real time scenario we cannot disable an content just because it's failing. But if the data is optional, we can make it as an optional. So in many cases, like a last name, there might not be existing a last name, so the type of the data can be optional, so you can make it as an optional to make it work. So now as I make it optional, so it should be working. Now as you see, there is no error, and whereas you can see the blue flag here. It is because the content has failed, but just because it is optional, the DT project didn't fail. Now if I look into here, we have the output for other thing, whereas there is no last name because I made it optional, so it succeed. Now if at all I want to put some logging here for the content because it failed, I want to know what exactly happened. So there is a property called onFail. So I can modify the onFail to write the errors to the user log. So I have in the onFail we have different properties like custom log, log error, log info, log warning, and notify failure. So log error, log info, log warning are of the same type. They get the value from the var last failure and write to the user log. So once I did this and I run this program, I can get the value from user log directory. I will be seeing all this value here. So if I open any of these, I can see it is saying error, content, my parser true, my parser true, my parser is the program name, 2 is the because it's the second content, and it's saying empty values are not allowed. So we got the expected output, expected logging. So now it will be clear that okay, it is logging to the user logs file. There is another case where we can use the notify failure. So which I put it here in the third one, where let's say modify the age part. Now there is no age here, so it will be failing again. So age expected, the second one succeed because we made it optional. Now it is failing for the third one. Again there is no value for the content, so it is failing. Whereas we mentioned a notify failure. In the notify failure we are having a mandatory, so on file we are making notify failure. In the notify there is pre-existing notify failures where mandatory structure missing, mismatch IDs, all these things. So out of them we mentioned that okay, age is the mandatory field, so we make mandatory field missing, and we can give a customized value like okay, mandatory field sex is missing, and that's why it is failing. Now we just make it the notify failure here. Now if we run it, it will be creating the notify failure, and because we are handling the notification here and we are writing the value var notification detail name and var notification value, we are just appending that and writing to a variable var1 and again writing the var1 to the result file. So now you can see that because we are writing to the result file, we can see the output in the output XML only. Now as you can see here, it is mandatory structure missing, mandatory field sex is missing, so it gives a clear information about which field is missing. Now if I want to say okay, it's fine that okay, you write the error but make the you write the output as well. So in that case you can make this as an optional to write both the output and the notification as well. So now in the output XML you can see that it's saying mandatory structure missing, mandatory file sex is missing. Now sex will be sex is male, where it populates the name. Sorry, it's not sex, it's age. So we have age equal 0. Okay, so you can modify the input like to mandatory field age is missing. So in the output it will mandatory field age is missing, and age because by default integer, so it gives the value 0. So that's about failure handling in DT. I hope this video will be helpful in writing and taking care of failure handling in DT. So you can give your feedback by writing email to us and support videos @informatica.com. You can tweet us @infosupport. For more videos you can look into the YouTube user InfoSupport. Thank you.